Hey guys, Chris Cookin' Nashville here today. The Carnivore Cheez-It. Stick around for this one because you're gonna love these crackers.
Yeah.
All right, y'all, I've had a lot of requests for a long time to do some kind of carnivore cracker. I've also had requests from Mr. Big Man Alaska himself asking for a carnivore Cheez-It. And I thought, you know what? Let's see if we can do it. So I actually have a double recipe for you guys. I have what would be kind of considered like a wheat style cracker, and I have a Cheez-It flavored cracker over here, a carnivore Cheez-It. I think they're fantastic, and I think everyone who's been asking me for that crispy, crunchy cracker is gonna be extremely happy with this. Let's see what Ash thinks of the carnivore crackers, the carnivore Cheez-Its, and then we'll show you guys how we make them. All right, so Ash loves Cheez-Its.
Yeah, because they're cheats, so you could call them Cheez-Its.
Yeah, that's right, that's right.
Funny.
So we're gonna see what she thinks of these. This is the wheat-based cracker over here, and then that is the Cheez-It flavored. Let us know what you think. And
Ooh, all right, already picking them up. They actually do feel like very solid, like an actual cracker. Pretty impressive. Let's see.
snap,
I heard that.
crunch,
That
crunch.
Wow. Honey, these are really good. These are super crunchy. They have a really good flavor. They actually do taste like a wheat, kind of like a hard dipping cracker. Like, kind of like, this honestly makes me want to make some kind of like a dip and just dip it in like right away.
Great. This would be great with like a keto spinach dip.
Oh, stop.
Yeah. You guys can tell though, I mean, you can probably, the microphone will pick it up.
They're crunchy, but they're also not like super dry.
Mm-hmm.
I was kind of expecting it to
Tastes like
maybe
cheese,
taste like a baked cheese kind of a thing.
Yeah.
But I think because they're so dry and they have a flavor, but they're not like overpowering, which is why I'm like, these would be great to dip in.
Yeah.
But they don't taste like cheese, and they definitely, I mean, they just taste like a wheat cracker. These are really good.
Well, they do have cheese in them, but there are a few other ingredients as well. That's what makes it taste so much like that kind of wheat cracker sort of thing, and the type of cheese that you use is very important for these as well.
That's really cool though, because it doesn't taste like cheese, it tastes like a cracker. Can I try the Cheez-Its now? Because, you know, these are my weakness. I love Cheez-Its. I can already tell the difference in the thickness between the two. This looks like a Cheez-It. It smells really good.
Crunchy.
Ooh, I got the cheese flavor. That's good. So what I love about these, if you taste an actual Cheez-It, like out of the box, it's like kind of crunchy on the outside, but then the inside, there's almost like air. Like it's a little bit softer. You nailed it. That's really, really good. Still got the crunch. Super salty. Cheese flavor. These are very good.
All right. So Ash loves them. She loves the wheat cracker style. She loves the Cheez-It style. So why don't we go ahead and show them how we make them, and that way Big Man Alaska can have his carnivore Cheez-Its finally. So
I feel you, brother.
Yeah.
Cheez-Its it is.
that's right. That's right. All right, guys. Let me show you how we make carnivore crackers and carnivore Cheez-Its. All right, here's our ingredients for making our carnivore crackers and Cheez-Its. We're going to go through the difference, but these are very similar recipes. For the regular crackers, I have Munster cheese, 1 pound. You can use any kind of cheese you want, but I find flavor-wise that Munster is the best for this, and it works really, really well. For 1 pound of cheese, I have 1 large egg. I have 1.5 tablespoons of unflavored beef gelatin, and I have 4 tablespoons or 1/4 cup of egg white powder. This is really important. So we're going to put all of these together to make our crackers. This is the ratio of ingredients you're going to want to use. And the only difference is over here for the Cheez-Its, I'm using a sharp cheddar cheese, again 1 pound to 1 egg. Then I have 1.5 tablespoons of beef gelatin. I have the 1/4 cup or 4 tablespoons of the egg white powder. I'm going to link that down below for you guys. This is the seasoning mixture. This is a 1/2 teaspoon of garlic powder, a 1/2 teaspoon of paprika, and a 1/2 teaspoon of mustard powder, all mixed in there together. These are optional, but they make it really nice. So to make our crackers, we're going to cut this cheese into small enough pieces that I can fit into a food processor to shred. We're going to go ahead and shred up all of our cheese so we can get to making our crackers. And that little extra piece of unshredded cheese is called the chef's privilege. I'm just going to set this off to the side in a bowl and we'll shred the cheddar. So we're going to start off with the Munster cheese wheat cracker version. I'm going to add my S-blade into my food processor and then go ahead and put the entire pound of Munster cheese into the bowl. And I have to pay the cheese tax to my sous chef to keep her working. Now we're going to add our dry ingredients, starting with the beef gelatin over top of the cheese, then the egg white powder, and now we're going to add the lid and blend that together really well. We start by pulsing it together, and then we can turn it on and let it run until it turns into a little bit of a clumpier mixture. Now it's time to add the egg right on top of the cheese. Now we're going to turn the food processor on and let it run until it comes together in a solid ball and then turns into a paste. You'll see it start collecting into a ball that goes around in a circle, and then that ball is going to break down and turn into a mushy cheese paste, and that's what we're looking for. The texture of this is going to be like a sticky cheese dough. That's exactly what we want. Now we're going to take a cookie sheet and 2 pieces of parchment paper that will cover that cookie sheet. And we're going to scrape our cheese dough out and put it right in the middle of 1 piece of that parchment paper on the cookie sheet. And don't panic if this is a very sticky and hard to work with dough, because it's exactly what you want. Now we're going to lay the second piece of parchment paper on top and press down to flatten this cheese dough out. Then we're going to take a rolling pin, or you could use some kind of a bottle or something else cylindrical, and we're going to roll this cheese dough in both directions to the ends of the cookie sheet as well as all of the edges. You're going to have some thick spots, so we're going to take this off of the cookie sheet and place it on our cutting board to roll it the rest of the way. Just roll this mixture out to the thickness of cracker you would like to make. Personally, I like about 1/8 of an inch. Now you're going to take the top sheet of parchment paper and fold it backwards from one end and pull parallel to the dough so that this peels off without pulling the cheese off of the bottom piece of paper. And you don't have to do this, but you can use a scraper or a knife to trim up the edges and the ends to make it cleaner and make it fit your cookie sheet better. Now we just slide this back on our cookie sheet and it's ready to bake. We're going to put these on the middle rack of an oven at 425 degrees Fahrenheit. And we'll come back in 15 minutes. While the first batch is in the oven, I'm going to do the exact same thing with the cheddar. The only difference is I have that extra seasoning that I'm going to add in with the beef gelatin and the egg white powder. Everything else is the exact same. 15 minutes is up for that first pan. We're going to go ahead and pull that out and swap it with the second pan. I'm going to pull this off of the first pan to let it cool. After 3 to 5 minutes of cooling time, we're going to go ahead and cut this first batch into cracker shapes. And now you can see the thickness and the air bubbles created by that egg in there. That is why this is going to come out to have a cracker texture, but it is still soft and flexible. So we're going to need to bake this a little bit longer to turn it into beautiful crackers. I'm going to dump our cut cracker shapes back onto the cookie sheet, and we're going to bake these until they get crispy. The second pan is coming out after its first 15-minute bake time. We're going to do the same thing, let it cool, cut it into cracker shapes, and now we can go ahead and bake the first batch and turn them into crispy crackers. To do that, we're going to set our oven to 325, slide the cut crackers back in, and then we're going to bake for 10 minutes. While those are baking, I'm going to go ahead and cut my Cheez-It crackers. I'm just going to cut these a little smaller than the others. After 10 minutes, I'm going to go ahead and stir this first batch of crackers to make sure they are baking evenly. Then these go back in and we check them every 5 minutes until they are brown and crispy like a cracker. And now I can also add my Cheez-Its back in, and we're going to do the same thing with a 10-minute bake, stir, and then check them every 5 minutes after until they get crispy. My crackers are done. They took about 25 minutes total on that 325. You can see they are brown, they're crispy, and once they're cool, they're going to be amazing. All right, guys, there you go. That is the Carnivore crackers, the Carnivore Cheez-Its. As you can see, it's almost a cheese mousse sort of an idea that I'm starting out with. I am going to be playing around with that technique a lot more. So if you guys like this recipe, be watching because there might be some more coming. And then when you bake it with all of the extra egg white powder that I add in there, that absorbs all of the fat that comes out of the cheese. It gives it that texture where it's crunchy, but it's not dry. So tasty, and I think there's going to be all kinds of amazing dips that we can now make to either have with the crackers or sit and snack on Cheez-Its on like a football game kind of day when people like snacks like that. Or
absolutely.
Also, we did make a batch of these, I did, and I put some of them in a small bag and I left them sit out here on the counter, and it is a number of days later and they still have not molded. They have not changed. So I don't know with all of the cheese in this that I would leave them sit on your counter really a long time. When I was testing stuff out, I kept them in the fridge, but I do think you could probably leave these on the counter at least for an entire day, probably longer than that, and they're still going to be good. They're kind of a baked good in that way. So I would think you probably can get several days on the counter out of these, but no guarantees there, but I would think you probably can. So that's the Carnivore crackers and the Cheez-Its. I hope you guys enjoy those. If you're looking for good egg white powder so that you can make things just like this, my link will be down below for sportprotein.com, as well as the discount code for that. That is the protein powder that I'm now using for my egg white powder in my recipes. Ryan over there at sportprotein.com is great. They have great customer service. They'll be happy to help you guys out. You can get large, small, all different sizes of containers from him over there, and use that discount code to tell him Chris Cookin' Nashville sent you. It'll save you a little bit off of your order and make the price a little bit nicer, a little sweeter. So all my other links are down below. My Patreon, my YouTube memberships are down there. Buy me a coffee. Everything that if you would like to support the channel is down there. If you don't want to do any of that, that's totally fine. Hit the thumbs up button, subscribe, share this video, put a comment down below what you're going to use your Carnivore crackers for, or what kind of an event you're going to take some Carnivore Cheez-Its to. We'd love to hear from you guys, and just know that you're here. Thank you so much for watching. This is Chris Cookin' Nashville, my beautiful wife, Ash Taylor. Eat your meat, especially if it looks like a cracker or a Cheez-It. Love your life, and we're going to see you guys here in the kitchen for the next recipe.
You are proof that not all heroes wear capes.
Some of them wear camo.
Yeah, some of them wear camo and some of them make Cheez-Its. You are a hero to the American public.
These are awfully good, aren't they?
They're tasty, man. All right, what's next?